Gary Neville drops bombshell, predicts another Man United star will hand in transfer request. Welcome to Unite United News, where Manchester United fans find the truth that matters most. When other sources feed you rumors and half-stories, we dig deeper to bring you the complete picture. When the noise gets too loud and you need someone to explain what is really happening at Old Trafford, this is your trusted home for honest analysis and insider insights that cut through all the confusion. Today we have breaking news that could change everything at Manchester United. Gary Neville, the club legend who never holds back, has made a shocking prediction about one of United's current stars. He believes another player is about to hand in a transfer request, and his reasoning will surprise you. But which player is Neville talking about? What inside information has he gathered from his contacts at the club? And what does this bombshell prediction mean for United's plans before the transfer window slams shut? The answers reveal some uncomfortable truths about what is really going on behind the scenes at Old Trafford right now. The shocking prediction that has rocked Old Trafford. Gary Neville has dropped a bombshell that has sent shockwaves through the Manchester United community. The former United captain believes Andre Onana will hand in a transfer request after learning that the club are actively searching for his replacement. Speaking to NBC Sports, Neville made his prediction crystal clear. Now that Onana knows United have been scouting around Europe for a new goalkeeper and replacement for him, his confidence must be shot at and he must be thinking he wants to get out. This is not just random speculation from a pundit looking for headlines. Neville has been asking his contacts inside Manchester United about their plans, and what he discovered has led him to this dramatic conclusion. The trigger for this potential transfer request? United's pursuit of Belgian goalkeeper Senne Lammens from Royal Antwerp. While the club might see this as bringing in healthy competition, Neville believes it will have the opposite effect on their current number one. But why would signing a backup goalkeeper cause such drama? And what does this tell us about how United are handling their current squad? What Neville's inside sources are telling him. Gary Neville did not make this prediction in a vacuum. He specifically mentioned that he had been making calls and speaking to people inside Manchester United to understand their transfer strategy. I've been asking around about that one this morning and spoke to a few people at United, Neville revealed. This gives his prediction serious credibility because it is based on actual insider information rather than guesswork. According to his sources, United planned to sign Lammens as a number 2 goalkeeper who would initially start on the bench. But Neville sees this as just the first step in a longer process to eventually replace Onana entirely. The feeling is the new boy coming in would probably be a number 2 who would start on the bench, but they absolutely do need a number 1, Neville explained to NBC Sports. This suggests that while United are not ready to immediately drop Onana, they have serious doubts about whether he can be their long-term solution in goal. The Andre Onana problem explained. To understand why this situation has developed, we need to look at Andre Onana's time at Manchester United so far. When he arrived from Inter Milan, expectations were sky-high. United had paid good money for a goalkeeper with Champions League experience and a reputation for excellent distribution. Instead, Onana's first season was filled with costly mistakes that left fans pulling their hair out. He made high-profile errors in crucial games, his shot-stopping was inconsistent, and even his supposed strength playing out from the back often put United in dangerous situations. These were not small technical errors that only experts would notice. These were the kind of mistakes that made headlines and left teammates visibly frustrated on the pitch. Neville was brutally honest about the goalkeeper situation after United's opening game against Arsenal. He called it a glaring issue for his former club, making it clear that he believes United need to address this position urgently. "We think Onana will start today, but that situation isn't right," Neville said before the Fulham game, showing his lack of confidence in the current options. The psychological warfare of transfer rumors. Football is as much a mental game as a physical one, especially for goalkeepers. When you are standing between the posts with thousands of fans watching your every move, confidence is absolutely everything. Neville understands the psychological impact that transfer rumors can have on a player. Once Onana realizes that United are actively scouting other goalkeepers across Europe, how can he maintain the confidence needed to perform at the highest level? His confidence must be shot at and he must be thinking he wants to get out. Neville predicted, showing his understanding of how players typically react in these situations. Imagine being in Onana's position. Every save you make is now seen as you trying to prove you deserve to stay. Every mistake is analyzed as evidence that the club needs to replace you. The pressure must be enormous. This is not a situation any professional footballer wants to find themselves in. Most players would prefer a clean break rather than constantly looking over their shoulder, wondering when the axe might fall. The Senne Lammens factor. So who exactly is Senne Lammens? And why has his potential signing created such drama? The 23-year-old Belgian goalkeeper currently plays for Royal Antwerp and has caught the attention of several big clubs across Europe. Manchester City were also interested in Lammens, but United appear to have won the race for his signature. He has reportedly agreed personal terms with United and is expected to cost around £20 million. From United's perspective, signing Lammens makes sense on several levels. He is young with room for development, he would not cost an astronomical fee, and he could provide competition for the current goalkeepers. But as Neville points out, the signing also sends a clear message to Onana and the other goalkeepers that the club is not satisfied with what they currently have. Lammens has made 64 appearances for Royal Antwerp and has represented Belgium at various youth levels. While he is not yet a household name, scouts clearly believe he has the potential to develop into a top-level goalkeeper. The Altay Bayındır situation. The goalkeeper situation at United becomes even more complicated when you consider Altay Bayındır, the Turkish shot-stopper who joined the club but has barely featured since his arrival. Neville was characteristically blunt about Bayındır's performances when he has been given opportunities. Bayındır came in last week, but he makes a lot of mistakes, the former United captain said. This honest assessment suggests that Bayındır is not seen as a viable long-term solution either. If United cannot trust him to be the number one, and they have doubts about Onana, it makes perfect sense that they would look elsewhere. But this creates a potential problem. If Lammens comes in and eventually becomes first choice, where does that leave Bayındır? He might find himself even further down the pecking order than he already is. United could end up with 3 goalkeepers who are all unhappy with their situations. Onana feeling pushed out, Bayındır getting even fewer opportunities, and Lammens facing enormous pressure to justify his signing. Neville's brutal assessment of United's options. Despite all his criticism, Gary Neville still believes Onana should be starting games for United right now. When asked who he would choose for the Fulham match, his answer revealed everything about United's goalkeeper situation. I would go with Onana. He's the most reliable out of the unreliable goalkeepers they have, Neville said with his trademark honesty. This quote perfectly captures United's dilemma. They have multiple goalkeeper options, but none of them inspire complete confidence. It is like choosing the best of a bad bunch rather than selecting a genuinely world-class option. Neville went on to explain his reasoning for still preferring Onana. I think he's got a bigger personality and character than Bayındır, and he's got that experience, so I think Onana should start. This suggests that while Onana has made mistakes, he at least has the mental strength to handle the enormous pressure of playing for Manchester United. That cannot be said about every goalkeeper. The broader pattern at Manchester United. The potential Onana transfer request fits into a broader pattern of how Manchester United have been managing their squad this summer under Ruben Amorim. The Portuguese manager has not been afraid to make tough decisions about players who do not fit his plans. According to reports, United are already trying to sell several high-profile players before the transfer window closes. Alejandro Garnacho, Jadon Sancho, and Antony have all been placed in what has been described as Amorim's bomb squad. These 3 players are reportedly training away from the rest of the Manchester United first team, while the club actively tries to find buyers for them. Chelsea are in talks to sign Garnacho, while Sancho has attracted interest from Serie A clubs, though he rejected a move to Roma. This shows that United are taking a ruthless approach to squad management. Players who do not fit the manager's vision or who are not performing to the required standard are being moved on, regardless of their reputation or transfer value. If Onana does hand in a transfer request, it would fit perfectly into this pattern of United reshaping their squad quite aggressively under their new manager. The financial reality of the situation. From a financial perspective, Losing Andre Onana after just one season would represent a significant loss for Manchester United. They paid Inter Milan good money to bring him to Old Trafford, and selling him so quickly would mean writing off most of that investment. However, football clubs sometimes have to make difficult financial decisions for the greater good of the team. If Onana's confidence is shot and his performances are not improving, keeping him might be more expensive in the long run. Goalkeeping mistakes can directly cost teams points, and in the modern game, points translate directly into money. Missing out on Champions League qualification, for example, can cost a club tens of millions in prize money and TV revenue. So while losing money on Onana's transfer fee would be painful, it might be less costly than persisting with a goalkeeper who is not performing at the required level. The message to other players. If United do allow Onana to leave, it will send a powerful message to every other player in the squad about the club's expectations and standards. Underperforming players will be moved on, regardless of their status or how much they cost to sign originally. This could have both positive and negative effects throughout the squad. On the positive side, it might motivate other players to raise their game because they know their place in the team is never guaranteed. On the negative side, it might create an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty where players are so worried about making mistakes that they cannot play with the freedom and creativity that brings out their best football. The key for United will be striking the right balance between demanding high standards and creating an environment where players can express themselves without constant fear of being sold. What this means for United's transfer strategy. If Neville's prediction comes true and Onana does hand in a transfer request, it will completely change United's transfer priorities for the remainder of the window. Instead of focusing on other positions, they might suddenly need to prioritize finding an experienced goalkeeper who can step in immediately. This could have a domino effect on their other transfer plans. Neville identified the need for a defensive midfielder to play alongside Bruno Fernandes as another key priority for United before the deadline. That and the central midfielder slot next to Bruno Fernandes are the two things they need to get sorted this week, Neville said, highlighting United's most pressing needs. But if they suddenly need to find money to sign a replacement goalkeeper, it might limit their ability to address other positions that also need strengthening. The competition factor and its risks. One argument for bringing in Lammens is that competition between goalkeepers can often improve everyone's performance. Some of the best goalkeepers in history have thrived when they had to fight for their place in the team. The theory is that knowing someone else is ready to take your spot keeps you sharp and motivated. It prevents complacency and ensures that every training session and every match is treated with maximum seriousness. However, this approach only works if both goalkeepers have the right mentality to handle the pressure constructively. If the competition becomes destructive rather than motivating, it can harm everyone involved. Based on Neville's assessment, it seems like the competition might have the opposite effect on Onana. Rather than motivating him to improve, it appears to be damaging his confidence and making him want to leave. The international career factor. Another consideration in Onana's situation is his international career with Cameroon. National team goalkeepers need regular playing time at club level to maintain their place in the international setup. If Onana is not playing regularly for Manchester United, it could affect his chances of being selected for important international matches. This creates additional pressure to find a club where he will be the undisputed first choice. International football is hugely important for most players, both for personal pride and for maintaining their market value. Players who lose their place in their national team often find it harder to move to other big clubs in the future. This international dimension adds another layer of urgency to Onana's situation and might make him more determined to find a solution quickly. The Ruben Amorim factor. Throughout all of the speculation, it is worth noting that Ruben Amorim has publicly backed both Onana and Beinder. The Portuguese manager has stated that he is happy with his goalkeeper options and trusts both players. But there is often a difference between what managers say in public and what they really think privately. Amorim might be trying to protect his players' confidence while secretly agreeing that the goalkeeper position needs to be upgraded. The fact that United are pursuing Lammens despite Amorim's public backing of the current goalkeepers suggests there might be some disconnect between the public statements and the private planning. Amorim's tactical system also places specific demands on goalkeepers. He wants players who can distribute the ball accurately under pressure and who can act almost like an extra outfield player when the team is building attacks. If Amorim does not believe Onana has the specific skills required for his system, that could be another factor pushing the goalkeeper towards the exit door. The pressure of playing for Manchester United. Part of Onana's struggles might be related to the unique pressure that comes with playing for Manchester United. Every mistake is magnified, every performance is scrutinized, and every decision is questioned by fans and media around the world. Some players thrive under this kind of intense scrutiny, while others find it overwhelming and struggle to perform at their best. This is not necessarily a reflection of their ability or character. Different players simply respond differently to pressure. If Onana is one of those players who struggles with the Goldfish Bowl environment at United, then a move to a club with less media attention and lower expectations might be exactly what his career needs. There have been many examples throughout football history of players who struggled at big clubs but flourished when they moved somewhere with less pressure and more patience for development. The timing of everything. The timing of this potential transfer request could not be more crucial. With the transfer window closing soon, any decision needs to be made extremely quickly to give all parties time to arrange alternative solutions. If Onana is going to hand in a transfer request, it needs to happen in the next few days to give United time to find a replacement and to give potential buying clubs time to complete a deal. This compressed timeline creates additional pressure on everyone involved. Quick decisions in the transfer market can sometimes lead to mistakes, but they can also create opportunities that might not exist if everyone had more time to think and plan. The human element of the story. Throughout all the tactical analysis, financial calculations, and transfer speculation, it is important to remember that Andre Onana is a human being with feelings, ambitions, and concerns about his future. Moving to a new country, adapting to a different style of football, and dealing with intense criticism from fans and media is never easy. If he is genuinely struggling with confidence and feeling unsupported by his club, it is completely understandable that he might want a fresh start elsewhere. Sometimes the human side of these decisions is more important than all the tactical and financial considerations. If a player is not happy and not performing to his potential, it might be better for everyone if he moves to an environment where he can rebuild his confidence and career. What other clubs might be interested? If Onana does become available, there would likely be several clubs interested in signing him despite his struggles at United. He remains a goalkeeper with proven ability at the highest level and significant international experience. His time with Ajax in the Champions League and his successful period at Inter Milan would make him attractive to clubs looking for an experienced goalkeeper who understands the demands of top-level football. Serie A clubs in particular might be interested, given his previous success in that league. He might also attract interest from clubs in other major European leagues where the style of play might suit his strengths better. From Onana's perspective, a return to a league and style of football where he previously succeeded might be exactly what he needs to get his career back on track. The potential replacement options. If United do lose Onana, they would need to move quickly to find a suitable replacement. Relying solely on Lammens and Bayender might be too risky given their relative inexperience at the highest level. The club would probably need to target an experienced goalkeeper who could provide immediate stability while the younger players develop. This might mean looking at players who are available on loan or free transfers to avoid spending enormous amounts of money. Alternatively, they might need to significantly increase their offer for Lammens and ask him to step into the number 1 role immediately, which could be a lot of pressure for a young goalkeeper making such a big move. The academy connection. This situation also raises questions about United's approach to developing goalkeepers through their academy system. If they are constantly looking to buy established players rather than developing their own, what message does this send to young goalkeepers in the youth setup? United have historically prided themselves on giving opportunities to homegrown players, but the goalkeeper position seems to be one where they have struggled to produce top-level talent in recent years. This might reflect the unique challenges of developing goalkeepers, who often need more time and patience than outfield players to reach their full potential. The fan perspective on the situation. Manchester United fans are divided about the goalkeeper situation, which reflects how complicated the issues really are. Some supporters still believe Onana can come good and think the club should show more patience with him. These fans point to examples of other goalkeepers who took time to adapt to English football but eventually became successful. They argue that writing off Onana after one difficult season would be premature and wasteful. Other fans have completely lost confidence in Onana and want him replaced as soon as possible. They point to the crucial mistakes he has made and argue that United cannot afford to keep giving chances to a player who might cost them important points. Both groups would probably agree that having uncertainty and drama around the goalkeeper position is not good for anyone, and that the situation needs to be resolved quickly and decisively. The leadership challenge. This situation represents a significant test of leadership for everyone in positions of authority at Manchester United. How they handle the Onana situation will demonstrate what kind of club they want to be and how they treat players who are going through difficult periods. If they handle it with clear communication, honesty, and respect for everyone involved, it could set a positive example for how similar situations are managed in the future. If they handle it poorly, with mixed messages, public criticism, and unclear decision-making, it could create long-term problems with player confidence and the club's reputation in the transfer market. Other players, agents, and clubs around Europe will be watching closely to see how United manage this delicate situation. The ripple effects throughout the squad. If Onana does leave, the effects could ripple throughout the entire Manchester United squad in ways that are not immediately obvious. Defenders might need time to build trust and understanding with a new goalkeeper, which could affect the team's defensive stability. The team's style of play might also need to be adjusted depending on the strengths and weaknesses of any replacement goalkeeper. This could require changes to training routines, tactical systems, and even the types of players United target in future transfer windows. These kinds of changes can take time to implement successfully, and United might need to accept some short-term instability while the new arrangements bed in. Looking at the long-term vision. Beyond the immediate crisis, United need to develop a clear long-term vision for the goalkeeper position. Do they want to build around a young player like Lammens who could potentially serve the club for many years? Or do they want to sign an established goalkeeper who can provide immediate stability and success, even if that solution might only last for a few seasons? Both approaches have merit, but the club needs to be clear about their direction and commit to it fully. Constantly changing strategies and sending mixed messages will only create more confusion and instability. The wider context of United's season. This goalkeeper drama is unfolding against the backdrop of United's broader ambitions for the season. The club have invested heavily in new attacking players and have clear expectations about what they want to achieve. But if the goalkeeper situation is not resolved satisfactorily, it could undermine all of their other good work in the transfer market. Football is a team sport, and weaknesses in one area can affect the performance of the entire team. United cannot afford to let uncertainty and drama in one position derail their hopes for a successful season across all competitions. The pressure on Ruben Amorim. As the new manager, Ruben Amorim is under enormous pressure to make the right decisions about his squad. The goalkeeper situation will be seen as an early test of his judgment and his ability to handle difficult situations. If he makes the wrong call, either by keeping an unhappy player or by letting go of someone who could have been successful, it could affect his credibility and his relationship with the fans. But if he manages the situation well and finds a solution that works for everyone, it could establish his reputation as a manager who can handle complex situations with wisdom and skill. Final thoughts. Gary Neville's prediction that Andre Onana will hand in a transfer request has added another layer of drama to what is already a complex situation at Manchester United. Based on his conversations with contacts inside the club, Neville believes that Onana's confidence will be destroyed once he fully realizes that United are actively searching for his replacement. This situation highlights the delicate psychology of football and how quickly situations can escalate when players feel unwanted or undervalued. What started as a simple plan to add competition to the goalkeeper position could end up forcing United into a major overhaul of their goalkeeping department. The next few days will be crucial in determining whether Neville's prediction comes true. If Onana does hand in a transfer request, it will create a whole new set of challenges for United to navigate before the transfer window closes. Whatever happens, this story demonstrates the complex human drama that exists behind every transfer rumor and tactical decision. It shows how the business of football intersects with the personal hopes, fears, and ambitions of the players who make the game what it is. For United fans, this situation is both frustrating and fascinating. Frustrating because it represents another example of the club struggling to get basic decisions right. Fascinating because it shows the kind of behind-the-scenes drama that usually stays hidden from public view. The resolution of this situation will tell us a lot about United's decision-making processes, their commitment to supporting struggling players, and their overall vision for the future of the club. At Unite United News, we will continue to monitor this developing story and bring you all the latest information as it becomes available. This is exactly the kind of situation where having reliable sources and honest analysis makes all the difference in understanding what is really happening. When the noise gets loud and the rumors start flying, this is where United fans come for the truth that matters. We cut through the speculation to bring you the facts, the context, and the analysis that helps you understand not just what is happening, but why it matters for the future of Manchester United. Stay with us for all the latest developments in this story and everything else happening at Old Trafford. Because when it comes to Manchester United news that actually matters, we are the source you can trust to get it right every single time.